What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Apocalypse Movies. This is our spoiler breakdown of Justice League. We all saw it. We finally got Gio Ramos back. I am Jacob Bartley. This is Jake Berlin. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Good. The OGs.
Yes, the OG, the Apocalypse OGs. So basically, we're going to break down Justice League. We've all been waiting to see this. It's a big movie for us. We have a lot of debates about DC and about comic book movies in general. So we've been waiting to do something like this. So we're going to talk about everything in detail, all the characters, all the moments, whether or not we liked the film. But we just wanted to give our introduction on video to make things a little bit more easier for us and maybe even the viewers to add some visuals. We're going to switch over to audio to get into depth. It makes it easier for us to interact with each other, not just focusing on the camera, so we can focus on our discussion. So without further ado, we will jump into our discussion right now. All right, everybody. So now we're going to get into it. But before we get into into detail, we're going to talk about our general thoughts of the film, just what we thought. I put up my non-spoiler review. If you listen to that, you know what I thought. Jake put up his spoilers review with Brian. We haven't heard Gio's thoughts, so I'm going to go to you first, Gio.
A resident DCEU, man.
He's our DCEU enthusiast. You've only seen the movie once, so you haven't had a lot of time to analyze it. But after that first viewing, you were looking forward to this movie the most. Just what are your general thoughts of Justice League right now after the first viewing?
Oh man, I was looking forward to this movie more than Star Wars. Honestly,
well, you're a DC guy. You're a DC guy, so it makes sense.
To be fair, Star Wars was your number one most anticipated when we did our video.
Yeah. But as the movie kind of goes on,
exactly,
or the year goes on, and the trailers start coming out,
definitely. Sure.
Yeah, the whole idea of Zack Snyder, Joss Whedon working together, I thought it was perfect. I was expecting something grand, something epic, something that you leave the theater and you just can't stop talking about. We didn't get it. I was a little bit underwhelmed, guys. I'm not gonna lie. It just for me, I was thrown off by the pace of the movie. Everything just happened so fast.
That's the first thing I said as we walked out of the theater. I think that's the first thing I mentioned to you after we saw it Thursday night.
You said something about how quick it went.
Everything went so fast in the movie. It felt like it was an hour and a half long.
Yeah. You hardly get a chance to breathe. The movie doesn't let you breathe. It goes from one thing to another, to another, to another. And, I thought some of the introductions were great, like Aquaman was awesome. Whereas others like, Cyborg, where was his introduction, We saw scenes in the trailer of, him in human form, walking with his Letterman jacket.
Playing football.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't even
Where
think
did all
about
that go?
And it's funny because ever since the movies come out, they're all talking about how all of these scenes that were not in the movie are all the Snyder scenes. And how they cut all the Snyder stuff. And that's when all this stuff is coming out of saying, I want the Snyder cut. I want the Snyder cut.
There's a petition going
because basically,
I would sign that.
I think it's the very first trailer. Almost like every scene is not in the movie.
That Jason, I'm glad they didn't cut out that Aquaman moment where he saves the guy, downs the bottle, and because that's a badass moment. But that brings me to Zack Snyder. His name on the film. His name is on the movie, but I don't know if I can call this a Zack Snyder movie because you look at his previous work, Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, and
Watchmen.
It's so much different. It's so
Definitely
much different. Like what Snyder movie has bad visuals? Like,
well, and it feels, there's moments where it feels like two films. You can
definitely
tell.
is.
Like the one scene that stands out to me is that Batman scene where he goes, "Oh, definitely something is bleeding." Like that's not a Snyder thing.
There's a bunch of lines like that.
Yeah, that's not a Snyder
There's
thing
a bunch
to do.
of lines like that. Yeah.
So I have mixed feelings. I need to watch it again. I can't say that I did have fun watching this movie. There's definitely a lot of fun moments, like character moments. Specifically like Flash and Cyborg. They have great moments together.
The two
Aquaman,
kids, yeah.
Yeah, so on and so forth. But overall, guys, I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty underwhelmed.
Yeah.
Given the expectations
Wow.
and what this DC universe has been building towards.
I'm surprised because even coming out of Suicide Squad, you had a more positive review at first.
Yes.
Through time, you realized
Yeah.
that movie
After watching
was
it a few
probably
times.
the worst DC.
And a second viewing might change that for him. Because
Right.
his expectations are now different.
Yeah,
And his thoughts are,
I like
little...
to see a movie a second time before I give my
Yeah.
full thoughts because everything happened so fast. Not only because of the pacing of the movie, but just my mind's racing when I
It
watch
felt like the movie
one of these-
came and gone really
yeah,
fast.
especially the first time we went and
Yeah.
saw it because we waited in line for 3 hours and then just watched this movie and it went by like that. I enjoyed the movie. Look, I think I'm easy to please because I'm satisfied with the film. Look, it's nowhere near perfect. It's probably, I mean, it's down there with Guardians of the Galaxy 2 as the worst comic book movie of the year, but I wouldn't even consider either of them bad films in my opinion. But I did enjoy this film because there's so many elements of it that I enjoyed. There's definitely bad stuff in there, and we will get into that. It definitely feels like two films. I was telling Gio on the way here that you can tell scene to scene that it's from different directors, and it's like they were reshoots, but it's like it just feels like two different.
Well, it just
movies
kind
at
of
times.
cuts from one thing to another without any kind of transition. That's
And
where
I
you could
think
tell the two
A lot
differences.
of that had to do with them forcing the under 2 hours limit. And look, I don't want it to be 2 hours and 45 minutes. I think this movie could have been 2.5 hours.
2:15 even.
2:15 because this is what I think happened. I think Zack Snyder was aiming for 2.5 hours, and when they brought Joss Whedon in, they said this needs to be under 2 hours. So he cut everything and condensed it and shot his scenes and then condensed it all into this movie.
Yep.
And I think that's what happened. But overall, I enjoyed it, and I give it a positive review. If we just were simply negative or positive, thumbs up, thumbs down, I give it a thumbs up, but barely.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I think you liked it probably a little bit more than I did. I gave it a positive review on our spoiler review, but it's also because it's Justice League. It's a team up movie. It's everything we kind of wanted for so long. But there's no way this movie doesn't have flaws. It has a lot
Oh
of
my
flaws,
God.
but it
Yes.
has a lot of entertaining moments as well. The Jason Momoa stuff as Aquaman, great. Problem, he wasn't enough in the movie.
Uh-huh.
He wasn't in there
Exactly.
enough. Like everything with him
I
is
said that in
fantastic,
my review.
but where is he in half the movie?
Yeah.
Flash, he definitely had strong moments, but there's also some things with his character that they kind of took missteps on. Same with Batman, Cyborg. There's definitely some things wrong with him. Wonder Woman, fantastic as always.
Yeah.
I think they
I can't complain
finally,
about Wonder Woman at
I think
all.
they finally got Superman right.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Henry Cavill plays him fantastic. So yeah, there are entertaining moments in this movie. The action is probably the highlight. There's some really, really cool action stuff in there, but there is something I would want to talk about a little bit later on as far as action goes. But overall, it is probably one of my better DCU favorite movies, behind Wonder Woman, better than Batman v Superman, but you guys know how much I kind of dislike Batman v Superman.
Hey, I'm happy that you liked it to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to say is I think the biggest thing that's gonna hurt is that knowing that this movie could potentially be forgettable. With general audiences, they'll go in, they'll have a good time, they'll say I had fun, this and that, but in like 3-4 weeks, it won't be in anyone's mind, which is sad because it's a Justice League.
It is
movie.
pretty sad because I can just tell. So, like, I tweeted about Thor Ragnarok after I saw it, and you can just tell from my Facebook friends. I had like 15 likes and comments. I tweeted about Justice League, 1 like. And that just gives you an idea of like the
Yep.
anticipation and the excitement around it. I think a lot of people just don't care.
Well, and I think the,
General
the
audiences.
box office kind of reflects that.
and it proved
It
that.
reflects
Yeah,
that, so.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, those are our general thoughts. Overall, like we don't think it's a bad film.
No.
it's
It's
just
fun, but
I think our expectations, like this is a Justice League movie. Like it should have been a lot better. But let's get into some characters because one thing for me is, and I've said this about all the DCEU films, whether it's Suicide Squad, which is terrible, whether it's Man of Steel, which I really love, they get the characters right in my opinion. Like every casting I think is great for the main characters, and every character has been great. Whether they've been in bad movies or not is a different story. But I really liked the Flash, Ezra Miller. I think this is the part where maybe Jake and I are going to disagree a little bit. For the most part, for about 90% of the character stuff for him, I loved it. And I enjoyed the comedy elements. Some of the jokes were forced, and I'm not going to deny that.
He's a snack hole, bro.
I actually like that line. But it's like every line doesn't have to be a one-liner joke. That's my problem. Like, the one-liner jokes work when they're subtle and they just come out of nowhere, but then it's like every line that he says when they're in battle is a joke. It's a little overwhelming. But other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed his character a lot.
I felt like every line he did wasn't just not to say that it was forced, but it was kind of unnecessary. because I feel like every line he did say was almost a one-liner. The snack hole line, Cyborg, did he really just ditch us? The stuff about the bug stuff, oh, that's gross. Like,
also, my other fear is drowning. Like,
yeah,
every
like there's
time.
well in the bat signal, that's your bat signal, or when he gets left on the roof, oh, they just left
But
like
it's
that.
funny, like in the trailers when you see that moment, it's funny, like it works.
In the
but then
context of the movie, it's
it keeps
different.
coming,
Yeah.
yeah.
And see, my issue with the Flash, and he's one of my all-time favorite DC characters. Ezra Miller was fantastic. He was great with what they told him to do.
Sure.
Problem is, I don't think they got the character right. And I get it that he's still a young kid. He's not in the police force yet. He's not even considered the Flash yet. I don't even know if he has the name yet, the
I don't
Flash.
think they gave him an age.
So,
because
yeah.
he could be an 18-year-old Barry
Exactly.
Allen.
We don't know how young he is, and I get that, but there's elements of the character that I felt like were completely off from what the Flash really is. And it's not nothing against Ezra Miller. Like I said, he's fantastic in the movie. He has some really good stuff in there. The stuff with Superman at the very end was pretty cool. There was some good stuff with Cyborg, and the Batman relationship he has with him is good as well to a certain extent. But he was probably my second least favorite character behind or right in front of Cyborg. But again, Ezra Miller is great in the role. I'm looking forward to a solo movie. The only issue is it should not be Flashpoint. After this movie, there's no way that it should be Flashpoint this early because
he has to be the main character of
Exactly.
the movie. And
Exactly.
if it's Flashpoint, he's going to be a big part, but it's not going to be all about the Flash.
and just this is hypothetical, like this is whatever, but if he's literally not called the Flash yet, there should not be a movie called Flashpoint at all.
Yeah. I think my favorite moment, well, the comedy worked the most part for me. My favorite moment with the Flash is when he starts freaking out and he says, "I'm not ready for battle," and Batman tells him, "Just save one person." And then
Start
he's like,
small,
"Get
save
in,
one.
get out, save one person." And he's like, "What? Then what?" He's like, "You'll know." I loved that.
So that scene was really good, but my favorite moment was actually a comedy moment when he realizes Superman goes at his pace.
yeah. Oh my God.
See, that is my
That
favorite
is
moment of
great,
his
yeah.
because
The look
Ezra
on his
Miller's
face.
reaction is what kind of got me,
Yeah.
and him realizing, oh shit, Superman is as fast as I am. It's true. Like that's what happens in the comics, so that's why I had some fun with it.
That scene was
So I think for myself, I did like where they were going with the character. Like he's young, he had just gotten his powers. He's not very combat oriented. He just pushes people and then runs away. But I agree with you, actually both of you, that I think the comedy is a little bit forced. I was getting some Age of Ultron vibes with this character, where it's like joke after joke after joke after joke, and we
Or
didn't-
Drax from Guardians 2.
and I know that's not Snyder because Snyder doesn't do that kind of stuff. So, look, WB, they probably told Whedon, you know what? We need more comedy. We need more of this and that, more lightheart. Throw in some more jokes and more jokes and more jokes. It's unfortunate. Again, like with every other character, how much of Barry Allen's scenes have been cut? We think I don't know
The
if
Iris West scene where he
Iris
saved
West
her.
scene,
Yeah.
like who knows how much that would have added to the character.
weird. They said the scenes with his dad was going to be cut, and all of a sudden they're there.
Well, and to
I was
be
like,
fair, a lot of those
crazy.
scenes that aren't Snyder per se, just to play devil advocate,
Sure.
they are in the first trailer. A lot of those one-liners, he has like the rooftop scene, the stuff with
Yeah.
Batman.
I think they
A
were
lot of it
going
is
for
there.
comedic with the Flash, but then Joss Whedon just turned it up.
he
to
probably
100,
cut.
you know?
He probably cut scenes that lead into that. That probably made it a little bit more fluid,
Right.
and it just chopped up to where it didn't really make sense. One thing I do want to add before we move on is I also felt like he wasn't involved in the action as much as he should have been.
Well,
He
because
felt like he was just saving people off to the side and not really doing anything
I
most
feel
of
like
the
they
time.
explain that though that he's not ready for combat. He
Yeah.
hasn't really fought a lot, which I was thinking about it in Suicide Squad when he takes down Boomerang. He seems pretty confident.
He seems like he's taking down criminals like
so
early.
that's not consistent.
Yeah, so,
So-
that's it's
but
different.
that's a different
I
story.
will say the visual effects on everything regarding the Flash, his Speed Force, they all look great.
Except the way he runs. Watch it again and watch the way he runs. He
Okay.
runs like a little baby deer. His
Okay,
legs
but-
kick out.
John Campion talked about this. He said because the Flash is not an athlete, how would a normal person run? Like I'm not a runner.
That's true.
If I got the Speed Force,
I'll buy
I would
it.
look stupid.
I'll buy
running,
it.
you know what
I'll
I
buy
mean?
it. I'll buy
You know what
it.
I mean?
Yeah.
I thought about that too, but it makes sense. But overall, I enjoyed the Flash character, and I think it's mostly to do with Ezra Miller's the way his charisma and everything like that. So I really enjoyed that. Another new character, Aquaman.
Probably one of, if not the best part of the movie.
Arguably, he's arguably the best.
His
part.
introduction, the action he does, how different his powers are from the comics. Jason Momoa is the only reason you really need to love this character. The one scene that you had mentioned earlier, but him saving the guy from the water, drinking the bottle of whiskey, slamming it down, and then just jumping into the ocean. Like, that's Aquaman. And what's cool about it is he's not Aquaman. He's distant from Atlantis. He doesn't have the trident. He's just Arthur Curry right now. He was literally wearing jeans fighting Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
He was wearing jeans
And
fighting
I think
Steppenwolf.
that's the first time he's ever met Mira.
Exactly. Well, I definitely think it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, his character, it's really good. Unfortunately, I just feel like he wasn't used as much as he should have been.
The thing. Like, I have no complaints at all about the Aquaman character other than he wasn't in the movie.
And what's cool about it
Not
is,
one complaint.
kind of countering the Flash, his comedic style is very fluid through the movie.
Right.
It's subtle. It's kind of in
There's
there
not too
properly.
much of it, yeah.
And it's just kind of used in the right ways. That one scene where he's wrapped with lasso by Wonder Woman, so good.
I have a
Yeah.
question. When they're in the Batcave, what does he pocket? I could.
I think it's a little bat thing, bat boomerang. Yeah, batarang. Yeah,
Really?
I think so.
Yeah.
So everybody just.
It's
wants
just a funny
Batarang?
moment. Yeah, it's
I,
just a
I
funny
was like,
moment.
what did he pocket? Because everybody laughs. But
Yeah.
I didn't catch that. Joe, how'd you feel about Aquaman?
Well, like you guys, I don't have too many complaints. I will say that, going into the movie, they talked a lot about how his character is like lost. The land people don't really like him, but the Atlanteans, they won't accept him, for who he truly is. And I felt like we should have gotten a little bit more of that in Justice League.
Well, and what's interesting is Jason Momoa has kind of been talking about Justice League and the reception, how bummed he is about it. He also revealed that a lot of his backstory was cut from the movie.
Yeah.
So that was in there, but because of the time limit and all this kind of stuff, it's just kind of not in there anymore.
Well, again, it goes. It's just WB shooting themselves in the foot. They don't know what they want. They want an under 2 hour movie, and it's like you're gonna lose a lot of these things, and I don't know. But I mean, as far as Jason Momoa goes, I mean, like you want to talk about out of left field casting like for Aquaman?
By far.
Like, if there was one thing you give Snyder credit for, it's for his vision of Aquaman and
All the
making Jason
castings are
Momoa.
great.
The castings do
Honestly,
work, and I was very hesitant on Ezra Miller, but it does work.
All the castings are
Yeah,
great.
I agree.
For
Yeah.
the main characters.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a good introduction into Atlantis. I want to see more of it. I don't know about the whole talking bubbles and
Well, James Wan already tweeted that that's not happening in his Aquaman movie.
Okay, cool.
He already confirmed that's not happening.
I was a
in his
little.
movie.
I didn't know how to feel about.
I didn't like that at all because they can breathe underwater. Why would you do that?
It's gonna be. How can you talk underwater though? I don't know.
Well, and here's the
gonna-
thing that kind of bugged me about
telepathy.
everything with underwater Atlantis and everything. It did not look very good. It kind of felt blurry and almost like decolorized in a way.
Well,
I
think they
hope
were
that
in a
it's
dark-
different.
I mean, but the ocean's always.
I
dark,
hope that it's
uh,
different in the Aquaman movie, but if it does happen to be that for the Aquaman movie, kind of a darker tone, I don't know how I'm going to like that visually on the screen because it felt darker, blurry. It felt weird.
So, correct me if I'm mistaken, but in Atlantis they have like facilities, right? Like
Yes.
inside places. So some of the movie they'll be inside.
Yes.
Inside of buildings underwater.
It's
When they're in water, how they communicate? Maybe telepathy. I don't know, because I can't just see a mouth moving, and how can they hear each other? Does sound travel underwater like
Maybe
that?
Atlanteans may have some kind of power we don't know about because we know how DC so far has kind of amped up the superhero powers compared to the actual comics. So maybe something along that line.
I do know one thing. Mara looked amazing.
She is
Amber
fantastic.
Heard
Great.
And
looked
what's
amazing.
different is her voice sounded different for the character compared to what I've watched her in
Yeah.
previous movies. She sounded different and a
Well,
little
she
bit
did
more.
the same thing with the Danish girl.
Yeah. She's really
from the
starting to
Danish
become
girl
something.
now. Like she's actually really improved as
Yep.
an actress. She's not just
I'm-
a hot girl, you know.
Definitely, out of all the characters, I'm by far looking forward to the Aquaman movie more than any other solo movies coming.
Yeah, I'm so glad that it's shot and it's definitely
Yep.
coming. There's no way they're canceling it. It's already done.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna
Like-
talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah, so Cyborg was another character we got introduced to. And I'm going to tell you right now, he's my least favorite character, but not because I don't think he was a bad character. I just think I was the least interested in him. I just think,
He didn't have
Honestly,
an origin or introduction,
yeah,
really.
like he's just there. And the thing is, we know who Cyborg is
Mm-hmm.
because we know the origins, you know, but random movie-going people, they don't know who
Well,
Cyborg
it felt
is.
like they relied on that 2-second scene in Batman v Superman where the mother box took him over. That's what it felt like. They were just kind of relying on that scene for people to realize who he was, and them talking about what happened as far as Steppenwolf saying, "Oh, you're this, or you were born of her," meaning the mother box. It like you said, it felt like he was just there. He was a very integral part of the story.
Definitely.
Nothing would have happened without him. It's just
very
unfortunate
powerful.
that he had no backstory or kind of origin to who he is, where he came from, They just kind of relied on dialogue and again that 2-second scene from Batman v Superman.
I thought Ray Fisher gave a good performance.
Yes.
And he's like a theatrical performer,
Yeah.
so you knew he was going to bring it. But I honestly, so we debated about this in the trailers. I did not like the look.
He looked like
the look.
I've said this from the very beginning, but he looks like a love child between Deadshot and a Transformer.
Like what? I don't like the middle of the body. Like it looks so skinny.
And
like,
the visual
I don't
effects
like-
didn't help because
Yeah, that's what I'm
at one
saying.
point in the movie when we first see him, and I didn't notice this, but Brian said something when he's first talking and turns around. It looks like his face is off the metal.
Really?
It looks like the visuals aren't even attached to his body, and so the visuals may have had something to do with that, and you may not even have realized. But the look is very weird. But again, the end of the movie reveals that he is getting a new look.
He looked a lot better when he did
Yeah.
that and he had the C come up. That was pretty cool. So I think they're gonna fix that. They're gonna
Hopefully,
improve
but I
that.
do think that after this movie, the reception, he's not going to get his own movie.
Oh no,
No.
way.
He's gonna be maybe in a Batman movie,
Flash movie.
or put him in the Flash
They already
movie.
hinted toward. They talked about.
But
that a while ago,
that's
and
if
they
that's not
hinted towards it.
Flashpoint. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
no, I want it to be a Flash film where like Cyborg's not his sidekick, but he's like the second.
Black Widow and Captain America.
Yeah,
that's
pretty
what he
much,
should
exactly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate, or no, not hate, but dislike the Cyborg character as much as you guys do. But again, like the early word on Justice League, this is earlier in the year, was that, you know, the movie, what makes the movie so emotional and so, you know, like, you know, human is Cyborg and his, you know, the story with him and his father.
I agree.
Again,
I feel like all of that was cut.
we didn't get to see that.
Yeah.
Well, I like Cyborg's struggle with him dealing with not being human anymore.
The opening scene
And-
of him showing up
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
apartment.
His father
yeah.
died.
and
conversation.
him not being able to control the suit and the implications that had. Like, would they have fought Superman if his suit didn't react and get defensive and shoot at Superman? Like, that was a clever way to get them to fight Superman, because
Sure.
how else are you going to get them to fight Superman?
Yeah.
So I thought some things worked with Cyborg, but out of all the characters, new and old, he was just my least favorite.
Yeah, and I think moving on from the Cyborg character, I don't think we need to talk much about Wonder Woman. I think we can kind of agree that she's probably the best.
Mm-hmm.
For me, a little bit on Batman, I felt like he was too happy in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he was very intimidating. It didn't feel like the dark Bruce Wayne / Dark Knight that we've kind of been
flip.
promised.
Yeah.
There were moments of that, but he felt like a completely different character from Batman v Superman and from the old, gritty, kind of worn down Bruce Wayne that we've been promised.
Right.
Again, Ben Affleck, I think he's the best Batman we've ever had,
Sure.
personally.
Yeah.
I know you agree with me on that one. But I do think that his character felt just a little bit too happy. And that one line where he gets, beat up by Superman, he says, something is definitely bleeding. Batman would not say that. In my opinion, Batman would not say that.
So I actually completely disagree with you. I loved the lighthearted elements of Batman. Look, this Batman, he's been dark and gritty his whole entire life. He went through something in Batman v Superman that he never has before. I think losing Superman and realizing that he thought he was protecting Earth from Superman, and even though he didn't kill Superman, he realized that Superman was the only one who can protect Earth. And through that, I think he gained a greater appreciation for life. And I think even though they may have forced him being a little bit more lighthearted than you may have liked, I think this was the dark Batman that we know going through a transition and becoming a more optimistic person. That's how I viewed it. And I liked, look, maybe the jokes I could have done without, like, the one-liners.
The trident.
Because, like...
Pitchfork.
But here's the thing, like, Bruce Wayne is, like, he's always been, like, has a lot of charisma, and, like, he's funny when he's out in public and stuff like that. So part of his personality is that, in a way. Like, when he's talking to Aquaman and he says he talked to fish, like, I felt like that's Bruce Wayne, But maybe some of the one-liners, like you said, something's definitely bleeding, like, that's, like, a scripted joke, Like,
it was so unnecessary, but I do 100% believe with you on the stuff as far as hope, believing in Superman.
Yeah.
Like the conversation he had with Alfred saying that he's a better human. Love that scene.
I love that scene.
Love that scene.
See, Batman's relationship with Wonder Woman I loved.
Yes.
Alfred, I like
That
him
scene,
mentoring Flash.
the scene where they...
I like him in Aquaman. So, like, I enjoyed the lighthearted elements. And it's like, I understand this is not the Batman that we know, but what's wrong with that? Like, we've seen the dark Batman so many times. Like, why not try something different, even though if it didn't 100% work?
Yeah.
I think what I appreciated the most with Batman was how he tried to, push Wonder Woman to be the leader.
I like that a lot.
That Steve Trevor line, I was not expecting that.
Ooh, yeah,
That pissed,
that was-
dude. That pissed her off
Even in the
so
theater, I was
bad.
like, okay, all right, yeah.
Man,
But I will kind of agree with both of you a little bit. Again, I think it's they WB. Hey, we need more humor. Let's put more humor in there. Let's force a little bit of it. And I mean he was definitely more witty in this movie. Seemed like he was having a lot more fun, so to speak. But
or what Alfred jokes with him, that he's trying to get at Diana. He's like, "Why don't you call her? I don't need to call her."
yeah, see, I like that because that's building off of what you did in BVS. Everyone loved those two together. I was shipping them, but I mean, it's just I don't know. Like, it seemed like Ben Affleck wasn't as invested in this movie as he was in BVS. Maybe because of the reception or whatnot.
Well, I think just all the off-camera struggles that went
definitely.
on.
I still think he gave a good performance.
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But in Batman v Superman, he thought, look, I'm Batman now. I'm going to be Batman for 15 years, whatever. He was 100% invested. This movie, he kind of knows he's on his way out.
Yeah,
in a way.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I do like the moment when Superman shows up at the end and Batman smiles.
Yes,
A lot of people didn't like that.
I agree. I completely agree on that
Because
one.
he's a person. He's going to smile occasionally, you know?
Well,
Like-
you see a god show up on your doorstep, you smile.
And it's the thing, the whole point was like he was so depressed about Superman dying, and even though they brought him back, he didn't know if Superman was going to help them, and when he shows up to help them, it's a good moment. And I guess that's a great segue into Superman. Jake, you said you love the Superman in this movie. Once Superman shows up, like the moment when he flies to the statue where
The broken statue from BVS.
from
yeah.
that moment on, I loved everything with Superman. I didn't love the way they brought him back. The way, narrative-wise, how they went about bringing him back, it happened so fast.
I've been
Out of
iffy on it.
nowhere.
I've been back
I
and
don't know
forth
how
on
to
it, but I
feel about
agree.
it,
Yeah,
honestly.
I agree.
I'm like, I don't.
It was very
I know
quick.
I don't like it, but I don't know. I don't want to say it's bad though.
I
And,
think
like,
it-
How else could they have done it though? I think the mother box thing makes sense, but why did the dirt fly up in Batman v Superman?
Exactly. The continuity is off, but again, it fits with what the story is doing as far as the mother box goes. The only issue I had with it, other than being iffy on how they brought him back, where the hell was the black suit? I wanted more of.
Cavill
I wanted
teased that,
more
yeah.
of bad Superman.
Yeah.
Rather, and again, the scene really works. Him fighting, like he kicks the living crap out of Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Cyborg, and he didn't even touch the Flash, and he still beat him. And so the scene worked extremely well. I understand the time constraint; they had to go as quick as possible,
That scene is quick.
and so it works. But again, the stuff with Batman v Superman, where the dirt flies up, how does that work now? And again, it just happened so fast to where we're wondering what the black suit is, why he kind of turned so quickly from being this guy who doesn't remember who he is to remembering who he is, even though he knows who Gal Gadot is, he knows who Batman is, and Bruce Wayne, and Lois Lane shows up again with the Lois Lane stuff.
I didn't mind her in this movie, honestly,
Because she wasn't in it a lot.
Exactly.
Because she wasn't
And
in it a lot.
her moments were necessary. Her being the one to bring him back down was necessary. But but I hated her in Batman v Superman. Not the actress, but the character in Batman v Superman. She was completely unnecessary. But I'm happy with this Superman. Like I don't think they're gonna cancel the DCU, and we'll talk about this more at the end of this show. But like because I like Superman in Man of Steel. I probably like him the least in BVS, but I still like Henry Cavill's portrayal. I loved him in this movie.
I think this is his best iteration of Superman. His best version of
And like
Superman.
I always said, because we knew that they were going to go more lighthearted. I always said, of course, he's going to come back to life. If you died and came back, you would be the happiest person in the world, you know? So like, yeah, and I thought actually some of the jokes from Superman worked too.
Well, the
Because it
one
wasn't
where he
like
says,
was-
"No, I want to die." Like
Yeah,
at the very
like-
end.
It worked for me. Anyways, did you like the Return of Superman?
I did, but this one kind of hurt the most because I know this is what Snyder has been building towards. With Man of Steel, him getting his powers, and
It's
that-
truly
Superman.
it's truly a Superman trilogy.
Yeah, but then the way it happens is it's so quick. It didn't feel organic, I guess you could say. And I mean, yeah, you get these fun nostalgic moments like when he rips open his shirt
At the very
and
end,
ass,
yeah.
and that's cool, and he finally uses his freeze breath.
That was cool.
I've been waiting for that. So I mean I get it. This is the Superman that everyone wanted. I just wanted it to happen a little bit more differently. I wanted it to take its time a little bit more. But I have no complaints as far as, Henry Cavill in this movie. He did his thing. The fight scene with him and Flash, I thought that was great.
Yeah, I just think once he's back, everything with Superman worked from that point on.
Right, I
But
agree.
just the way he came back was just, I
Yeah.
don't know. I still don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a different way they could have done it.
It's funny because how often do we say that we really love seeing how it happened and the scene where he came back, but we don't know how we feel about it.
Exactly. And I think that's the best scene of the movie when he fights the Justice League and the Flash sees
That
him.
scene where he
The whole
grabs the lasso and he just basically pounds Wonder Woman into the ground.
All right, so I was gonna say that's might be my favorite moment in the whole movie when he headbutts Wonder Woman headbutts him back. He's like, "Oh shoot, I didn't know you could."
And
hit
he
that."
flies up
He
and
picks her up and smashes her into the ground. It's like, there's your debate whether she can fight him.
Oh yeah.
But he wins the
Yes.
fight every time.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman is so, I love it. She's so cocky and brave because she's like, don't make me do this. Like, she's about to kill him if she has to, which is awesome.
I quickly have to mention, alright, I think my biggest complaint, one of my bigger complaints, one, we didn't get enough of that Superman theme. We got the John Williams one, which was kind of cool,
It's
but...
the second time I watch it. It's actually more in there more than you think it is.
Okay, is it?
It's in there when he first shows up after being revived.
Okay.
When he goes into the Speed Force with the Flash and he's at his speed, it's hinted in the background. It also shows up when he's with Lois Lane again,
Okay.
and then it shows up at the very end subtly. It's not the straight theme by itself. It's mixed in with the Man of Steel theme. Kind of flickers in and out.
Okay.
So, but watch it again, you'll kind of notice it. But it definitely should have been there a little bit more, possibly when he first showed up to fight Steppenwolf.
Yeah. Oh, God, that would have been badass. Oh, okay.
I believe in truth. That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Steppenwolf, what do you guys think?
Doesn't belong in the DCEU. I mean, this is the universe that gave us General Zod, for me, Lex Luthor, and it's just, I mean, what the hell? This is like almost 2, maybe 3 in a row, if you...
No real
Enchantress,
motivation.
Ares and
Ares is a bad villain. Ares was the worst part of Wonder Woman.
now...
Steppenwolf's the worst part of Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
And now
Enchantress is the worst part of Suicide, and that has a lot of flaws.
Yeah.
And
And to a lot of people, Lex Luthor is the worst part of
Yes.
BVS. Not to me, but to a lot of people.
Yeah.
and it's unfortunate because the character is actually a pretty cool character.
And Syrian
and
Hines, I love
His
him.
voice
voice
was
was great.
voice was really good.
His
The
voice
issue
was great.
is that he didn't do mocap.
Mhm.
There's
He should've.
no way he should have done mocap. There should have been hints of it in there. I think you said it as soon as we walked out of our viewing, but he looked like a cartoon character.
Yeah, I gotta call myself out. So after my first viewing and I did my non-spoiler review, I said the special effects were great. And while some of them are, there's some bad special effects in here, and I have to call myself out. I wish I could erase
And
that part of my review.
Steppenwolf is one of
But
them. and
Steppenwolf's one of them, and it's probably a lot of the reshoots and stuff like that. I mean, I had a problem with some of the Cyborg stuff, the Steppenwolf stuff, but like for the most part, a lot of the action looked great. I love the Flash
When you watching
CGI.
it
everything.
IMAX and big screen,
Yeah,
you're
I just
like,
wasn't
wow.
paying attention. I was just trying to keep track of what
Yeah.
everything going on.
Yeah, so
But I
as far
realized it the second
as
time.
far as his motivation and everything, I mean, there wasn't really anything there.
Well, they didn't explain it.
Yeah, they did one small scene, but we were dropping our floors on the ground. The fact that Green Lantern was there with the new gods.
And I want to talk.
We
about
didn't
that
care
for a
about
second, but
Steppenwolf.
it's like, so basically, it's just like he just wants to rule Earth. He wants
He's-
to take over.
He's
Earth.
just another
He wants to
world-ending
destroy
guy.
the Earth
Exactly.
basically, and turn it into a replica of his home planet. That's what the motivation
Yep.
is. Quote. I'm holding air quotes up right now. That's what the motivation is, and it's like, why? So you're gonna kill all life on Earth and then just have an empty planet of that looks exactly like
An
where's
empty
he from?
planet of parademons.
Is he from Apocalypse?
I think he's from Apocalypse. I think he's from there, but they didn't say it just to
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
it from us.
For Dark Side.
Dark
Yeah.
Side's
Well, and they threw that one
Uncle
line in there
Red?
that probably wasn't needed to be thrown in there when he said Dark Side. But
But overall, I think he's a bad villain.
He's a throwaway villain. You forget about him. You're just
well, and
Equivalent to Malekith.
well, the topper on all of it is the way he died. He died from his own the
I don't
parademons
think
of
he's
fear.
dead, though.
But okay, the way he was taken off,
Exactly.
the way he was like,
I like that was cool because here's the thing. You know what they do in all these movies? Take out the big bad, all the little minions die. Like Age of Ultron, the Avengers, They didn't do that, which was cool. They did something different.
I don't like the way the Parademons took him off. I thought it was cheesy the way it ended.
Really?
Yeah. Felt like it was just kind of a quick way to get it over with.
I thought it was different though. Like
It was different, but
you
I don't
could've
think it
easily
worked.
said, all right, they defeat Steppenwolf, then
Yeah.
all the parademons disappear.
Oh yeah.
Poof.
Yeah, or they turn back into themselves or
If that
something.
would have happened, wouldn't you have been like, what the hell?
Oh, that I would have hated
It was
that.
something different.
Oh, yeah,
but
for
I'm
sure.
not saying it was great.
What I would have loved to have seen is Darkseid come down the tunnel,
So
grab
did
him, and go
basically
back
did
up.
Darkseid say, okay, you lost this fight and brought him
I
back up
think
from
so.
the boom tube?
I think so.
And now Darkseid like, oh, if they ever make a sequel, I'm gonna come back down and handle this myself. I don't know.
If Darkseid's even the villain for the sequel, according to the post-credit scene. But we'll get to that.
Who knows?
Well, I mean,
He's in
speaking
the
of
film.
Easter eggs, why don't we get to the Easter eggs of this movie? You mentioned the flashback scene. The flashback
Alright.
scene, it may be, if not the best scene in the movie.
Yeah,
It's
either
fantastic.
When Superman comes back or the flashback scene.
That is
I
fantastic.
love that whole flash. Once she starts explaining it, the whole
The
scene
way Diana
is
explains it and how the Amazonians, the Atlanteans, and all the tribes of men come together, and we're thinking, oh, we're going to see all these people fight, and all of a sudden, Green Lantern shows up with Zeus, and I forget the woman.
Ares was there.
I know Ares was in the background, and then I forget the woman god name. But there were 3 gods there with one of the lanterns, and they're theorizing that it's the lantern before Alan Scott, the one that
Okay.
that Alan Scott gets his ring from. But
Well,
yeah,
that was.
the fact that he.
I don't know how long ago. That was so long ago.
Oh
though.
yeah, years or
Like,
centuries.
Yeah,
centuries ago.
So that whole segment, that whole scene reminded me of Lord of the Rings in a way, because the way how they split the 3 boxes up between the different
Yeah.
races of man.
Yeah.
And I love Lord of the Rings. So like I was like, this reminds me of Lord of the
Yeah,
Rings. This
yeah,
is so
yeah.
awesome. But I love once the lantern showed up, I was like, yes, how cool, because we thought maybe Hal Jordan would show up. This was even better. Just a reference to the lantern
The core.
existing in the world.
And it replaced the line that he said, the no lantern
Yeah.
or whatever that he had said in the trailer. Steppenwolf
Yeah.
had said in the trailer.
Yeah, I love that flashback.
And I don't know if you caught the quick glimpse of Robin Wright in there.
I didn't see it.
She was the Amazonian that jumped on the horse and jumped off.
Really?
That was her.
Oh, that's because they said she was.
It
on
was
the casting
literally
list, right?
literally like a second long. Not even a second. She jumped on the horse, had her sword up, and then she jumped off to attack.
It was Zeus was there. That was awesome.
Yeah. And
I
people
love
are
that.
wondering if it's Zeus or Shazam. It's Zeus.
Yeah,
It's 100%
I thought it
Zeus.
was
Who was
Shazam
the
at
actor
first.
playing the king of the Atlanteans?
He's on the Aquaman casting list. He's in that movie.
Is he?
Yeah, he's in that movie. I don't know who he is, but because he has a giant beard and a helmet on and
Yeah,
everything. But
it's pretty cool.
he is on the casting list for Aquaman.
Yeah, I just love that whole segment.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's and we weren't really expecting it either. Like we were hoping for something.
Well, we knew that scene was there.
We knew there was a flashback, but just having like freaking Zeus and a lantern
I want
going
to
up.
see that whole battle.
Yeah, well, it's online. You can find it online.
Well, I just
so.
mean like
Make that a
extended
movie.
version of the battle.
Make that a
you know?
movie.
Oh my god.
Make that scene a movie right there.
Yeah,
There you go.
That would be awesome.
Gio, did you like that scene?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, Green Lantern is definitely the takeaway, but just to see everyone come together, you know, the Atlanteans, you know, come off their ship, and the Amazonians riding their horses, you know, and everyone just going full out battles, like full scale war, you know. So I thought it was great. It didn't take too long. You know, we got
It was quick and that was good.
Some
Yeah.
surprises
How-
in there. Yeah.
I really hope that going forward, because I've always loved her, but Connie Nielsen is a fantastic steal for this universe. As Hippolyta, I know that I don't know how they're going to use her going forward, or if they can, because Amazonians are
sequels.
stuck on Themyscira. But she's
great.
She is fantastic as that character. But yeah, so
Wonder Woman sequels, and
yeah.
she could always be in a Justice League 2. They can go ask her for help, whatever. What if the Amazonians have to come out for like whatever Justice League 3 with a big war?
That'd be
you know?
awesome.
And,
With
like,
Darkseid?
Exactly.
That'd be
yeah.
awesome. So.
Like you relive that battle, but in modern day. Like how
It's
awesome
coming.
would that be?
that's what's coming.
That's what has to happen.
Yeah, because
you know?
Arthur Curry's going to take over Atlantis. Wonder Woman's going to go back to Themyscira with the
Exactly.
Amazonians. Like, it's going to happen. There's
And
going to be
you
more
have
Justice League
The
members.
Justice League members, and then like maybe the Green Lantern Corps. Like
Yeah, it's going to happen.
that should be a movie.
And like they said, the new god or the old gods are gone, so they would have to find a way to replace them as far as like Zeus and them.
Oh yeah.
So like more Justice League members and the Green Lantern Corps and etc. So
Yeah. Maybe new god characters. I'm starting to get more into that. Mr. Miracle. They can bring Mr. Miracle into this mix.
They can
who
do
I'm
a
starting
whole
to learn
lot.
a lot more about,
Yeah.
which has to do with Darkseid, the boom tubes, and all that stuff.
they can do a whole lot.
So to end things out, let's talk about the post-credit scenes. I I did not. All right, so the first one is awesome.
First one's really good.
And
First
like,
one's really good. Although I'm iffy on the Superman suit. It looks a little weird.
Was it different?
Yeah, it was
It
blue
looks
with,
a
like,
little
white
weird.
patches
Yeah,
of
it
blue.
almost looked like he had pads on. Like there were dark spots all
I
over
gotta
his
look- I
suit.
gotta pay attention
And
to that. I didn't really
for all we know, it could have been a visual effects thing again.
hope.
And
not.
we'll get
I mean,
into that after
it
the
makes
post-credit
sense,
scene because I do
though.
want to mention a little bit about that. But
Yeah.
yeah, that scene, the first post-credit scene was awesome. It was really good.
I wish they would have shown a little bit more of the race.
I think they
you know?
will at some point.
Yeah. Or they're gonna reference it.
Or maybe,
They'll address it.
Flash is gonna be like, I beat you that time.
or maybe
something
there's
like
a
that.
scene where they're at brunch.
That would be cool.
So we'll
That
know.
would be
You never
pretty
know.
cool.
Yeah.
Did you like that scene, Gio?
I did. You know, so it was fun. You know, it's exactly, you know, the question that's on every DC fan's mind. You know,
Especially
I'm
after
sure
the way they tease it in the movie.
I'm sure it's been
Yeah.
addressed.
Yeah.
But, like before, but Flash versus Superman, at least on the big screen.
And it was
you
cool
know?
visually too. That's one of the visuals they got right.
Yeah, they did. In the comics, Flash beats him, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
he does.
Because even though Superman's fast, he's not as fast as the Flash. There's
No.
a reason why
The
he's
Flash
fastest
can
no matter
kick
what.
into another gear,
Yeah.
but he doesn't
But
know
he-
about at this
exactly.
point. Yes.
So right now, he can like he's a little bit faster than
Mm-hmm.
Superman. Imagine once he like kicks it into a
Mhm.
whole nother gear.
Yeah.
But that last post credit scene, I was not expecting at all.
I
Gio and I had a wager. We were like,
that they
"What's going to be
kept
the
it in
end
there.
credit scene?" I thought it might have been an Aquaman villain.
Thank you.
He thought it. Who'd you say? A Green Lantern?
I said it was either going to be John Stewart or Hal
Yeah, yeah.
Jordan.
And
Yeah.
once
I
we
thi-
saw it in the
the scene works. It's really good. The fact that Deathstroke is finally arriving is fantastic. But I think they're jumping the gun, man. I think they're
Legion of
jumping.
Doom?
They're jumping the gun on everything
I don't
again.
think they're gonna do that. I think that was a subtle hint towards the future.
I hope so.
I don't think
I hope
they're
so.
doing that anytime soon.
I will once say one thing about Joe Manganiello's look of Deathstroke. His hair is awful. It is awful.
Yeah,
you got that
but-
It should have been like
going on.
a sandy gray with the black in there,
Yeah.
kind of like
It was like really.
it's like a bleach blonde. It's horrible.
I thought it was like really gray.
No, it looks like a bleach blonde in my
To me,
opinion.
it looked like they were trying to age him up.
Yeah, I think
Honestly, I think that is so cool. They announced a casting. They confirmed a casting in a post credit
Yes.
scene because he was not confirmed
No,
as far as
he was
we
not.
knew.
so. Yes.
But I thought that was so cool. I mean, they're going towards the Luthor closer to the Luthor that we might know.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we'll
mean,
see.
he's
He
bald
was
now.
restrained. He's not as, you know.
He still has his same personality.
Yeah, we'll see.
Which I didn't mind. You loved. You didn't like. But I just like the post credit scene overall. I just love seeing Deathstroke.
It was a surprise.
You see the swords.
Yeah.
Like
It was a surprise,
it was
which was
so
nice.
awesome.
Which was
and
nice.
The crowd
so.
goes crazy when
Yeah.
it comes on. So
Mhm.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So well, for lastly, I kind of just want to mention this just a little bit, but let's talk about the visual effects just a little bit. The main thing that I want to talk about is with Henry Cavill. I don't know if you noticed it when you watched it, and I don't think you had seen it even the second time.
Yeah.
But the whole thing going on with his face, it's awful. It's so bad. And in my opinion, I know that there's a lot going on in the background of this movie. The unfortunate thing that happened with Zack Snyder, the bringing on Joss Whedon, the kind of short leash they had to finish the movie. But a Justice League movie, in my opinion, should not have any issues visually. Any at
Agreed.
all. A giant superhero movie like this with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, there should not be any kind of visual problems, and I think they really, really missed a big opportunity right there.
So they had to rush
Mhm.
that stuff because those were all
I
reshoots.
totally
and
agree.
I heard that all of the Superman scenes were reshoots.
Oh,
I don't know if
you
that's-
can tell. You
I
can
don't know
tell.
if that's 100%.
The opening scene with the phone, his face is completely fake.
yeah,
Completely
So,
fake.
I didn't really. I'm gonna have to take a second look
Yeah.
when I watch it again. But I don't know. But special effects do bother me. Like they lower the quality of the movie for me. Definitely Steppenwolf does in Cyborg, but I gotta look at his face again.
Yeah.
for sure. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's unfortunate, and honestly, they probably should have pushed the release date. Even though they already had it all hyped for November, they should have pushed it, and it would have probably been a better film.
Who really would have cared if it was pushed to like February or March?
March.
Who would have cared?
But they would
Nobody.
have had to do it early. You know,
Yeah.
like
Nobody would have cared. It's still a Justice League movie.
in September announced Justice is getting pushed to March.
And it got away from Thor. It would have gotten away from Star Wars. The only competition it would have had was Black Panther, which would have been in February.
Yeah, and it would have been fine. And I'm really upset. Even though I liked the movie, bad Rotten Tomato score, bad box office, critic and fan reception is pretty low. It's like, I mean, is this even worse than BVS? Like the reception it's getting?
I think as far as reviews go, no, but the reception, because it's a Justice League movie, yes.
Well, for what it should be.
Yes.
Yeah, because this is very unfortunate. Like, where do you guys see the DCEU going from here? They're not going to scrap it. There's no way. They have too many great things going. Wonder Woman was an amazing movie. It's a smash hit. It made almost over $800 million at the box office.
It's the highest
grossing origin film of all time, origin superhero movie of all time. That's amazing.
Yep.
So
it's the best this year.
That they can get it right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way they're scrapping this. They have too many good things. Aquaman's coming out, and I think Aquaman's gonna be badass.
I hope so. I really do.
And I don't think Henry Cavill's going anywhere. Superman.
He has one more movie on his contract.
Henry Cavill does.
Yes.
But I think as long as they look, we're gonna right the ship. I think he'll resign.
Yeah.
Affleck's probably gone, which is very unfortunate. But life moves on. All these other characters are great to me. So I think they release Aquaman, and then what?
Well, I think they kind of have two options. One of them is just like my opinion, and Brian and I were talking about this, but hand over the reins to Patty Jenkins, man. Give her the ability to do whatever she wants, whether it's Wonder Woman 2, whether it's a Justice League sequel, whatever. I don't know if you saw the news today, but there's rumors going around that Joss Whedon's not even doing the Batgirl movie anymore. So Warner Brothers might not even have liked what he did with the movie. The other option is scrap all continuity, focus on solo movies, and then find some kind of way to bring them together for a Justice League movie. Who cares about the interconnected universe at this point? Just make good movies. That's all we care about.
Well,
I want to see a good Batman movie.
Times with the X-Men franchise.
I want to see a good Batman movie. I want to see a good Superman movie, good Aquaman, Wonder Woman, etc. The only problem is they feel like they can do anything, and it's just not working. A Justice League movie made under $100 million at the box office.
I can't believe that.
A Justice League movie.
Yeah.
It hurts, man.
It's heartbreaking,
it
honestly.
does. It
hurts.
sucks.
And it sucks because it's better than the other two, than Suicide Squad and BVS, and they killed it at the box
Well, and a
office.
lot of people, I think, just didn't go because they didn't like Suicide Squad or BVS. Those movies turned off
Wonder
a lot of
Woman
people.
was going to have a bigger effect, a positive effect. Here's what I think. I think they should have marketed Superman in the marketing.
Oh, yeah. At least a little bit.
At first, I was like, I love that they're not putting him in there, but now, imagine if you put a couple of those scenes in the trailers. I think it would have made.
Well, did you see what happened? So after the box office results came in, all of the Justice League and Warner Brothers Facebook social media pages, all the banners, it's a brand new banner with Superman on it.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet. They need to start showing him in the trailers to get more people to go out to see it, because I don't know if this movie's going to crack 5.
It needs to make
500
$600 million to be profitable.
It's gonna lose money.
International, I think it's like 280 or something like that, plus 100, I guess you could say. But look, this DCEU, it does have some things going for it. I think they need to focus on solo movies. Get us the Man of Steel 2 with Matthew Vaughn. Get Matt Reeves' Batman movies going, okay? Whether or not it's Ben Affleck or not, at this point, I don't even care. Like, just start delivering some good movies. Wonder Woman 2, look, that's gonna happen. Aquaman, we know that movie's gonna happen. It's already shot. Who knows about David Sandberg's Shazam movie or not? Get Dwayne Johnson in that movie now, because he's box office, gold. He can help you out. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I am liking the idea of Flashpoint, but get some solo movies out first.
They got to focus on creating good movies before they can do anything universe-wise.
Yeah.
Every movie is focusing towards the future. Batman v Superman, the subtitle was literally called Dawn of Justice, rather than being just called Batman v Superman. Justice League, although it was Justice League, the post-credit scene was looking a movie or two down the road. I get it, that's what the Marvel movies do, but they've been running for 10 years.
But
they can
put
do
this
that.
movie first.
I know.
Even now, even though Marvel plans for the future, they put the movie that they're making first, and that's what they need to do. I agree with you, Gio. They need to focus on the solo films. Look, it hasn't worked. What movies haven't worked? All of the team-up films, all the ensemble casts. Wonder Woman and Man of Steel are the best movies in the DCEU, and they're solo films. And I think Aquaman's going to be amazing. James Wan is a genius.
I hope so, man. I
I-
really do.
Look, I think, and we've heard this, that they let James Wan make his movie, and I trust in James Wan. I think his movies are great. So I think Aquaman's going to be great. Whether it makes money at the box office, who knows? It needs to. But yeah, they just need to focus on the solo films. Like, maybe get that Shazam movie out. Don't even add anything that's connected to the DCEU yet. Just make that a great film, and then maybe 5 years down the road we get Justice League 2.
Yeah, one last thing before we get out of here. They missed the mark on doing a action scene where the entire team was standing together. I know they showed it at the end, but after the battle was done.
Yeah.
You know, and I hate doing the whole Marvel DC thing, but in the Avengers, after all these characters went off and did their own thing, they came back together, and they had the panning shot.
Favorite moment in the film.
Why not do that for Justice League movie?
A similar way, you know? It doesn't have to be the exact same way.
Like,
but
it could literally just be a wide shot of all of them fighting together. It doesn't have to be them standing together.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that they didn't bring them together. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, any last thoughts?
Last thought.
Give it a score too, Gio.
I hate that this is Zack Snyder's last film in the DCEU. I don't think it's coming back. You know, it's a shame. Justice League was supposed to be, you know, like, what other superhero team of event films are there to look forward to after this? I mean, like, Avengers happened. We were waiting
You mean
for the
new ones?
New ones, yeah. Justice League was supposed to be it. It's really unfortunate. I'm gonna see it again. But you know, it's just, yeah, you could say you had fun, but ultimately, I think this movie's gonna be forgettable, and that's the biggest painful thing to think about. But Justice League, based on my one viewing from like 10 days ago, I'm gonna go 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I still really enjoyed it. There's so much wrong with it. There was so much wrong with BVS. There's so much wrong with Suicide Squad. But I still enjoyed those films. So even though I'm talking a lot about my criticisms, I still really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun both times at the theaters. I'm just like having geekgasms. So I still stick with my 7.5 out of 10. I think there's a lot of good in there that really worked, but the bad is really bad.
Yeah, I'm staying with my 7 out of 10. There is a lot of bad that kind of stands out, but it's a Justice League movie with a lot of good characters who come together and fight together. And, you know, the stuff with the team is going to overtake everything. Like, the scenes of Wonder Woman and Aquaman fighting Steppenwolf is really cool. The stuff with Flash and Superman is awesome. Batman has his moments. Wonder Woman, again. Cyborg has his moments. So the movie itself, it's definitely a step in the right direction, but it leaves us with more questions than answers going forward, which is never really a good thing.
Yeah, critically, they had a better year than last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take Wonder Woman and Justice League over BVS and Suicide Squad any day.
Mm-hmm.
So, technically, they improved.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, that's going to do it for our spoilers breakdown. I hope you all enjoyed that out there. You can tell we're passionate about this. We all care about it so much. We want it to succeed. We were all just a little disappointed. We thought, since it's a Justice League film, it should have been better. I want to thank the guys. Jake Berlin, thanks for getting on this. I'm just glad you enjoyed it, man. I was worried that you were going to give it a Suicide Squad type score.
Yeah,
So
I know.
I'm
I
glad
despise
you enjoyed
Suicide
it. So,
Squad.
let me know where they can find you online, man.
Twitter, Instagram at Qui-Gon Jake, PocketFlixMovies.com, this YouTube channel. Give us a like, share, and subscribe, guys. We really appreciate it.
And Gio, it's nice to have you back, man. You're going to be getting on more stuff.
C3GO.
I'm definitely going to be back, guys. I'm sorry. I apologize. You know, some life events have taken place, but I'm definitely going to be back. Check me out on Twitter at GeoDude90. Check out PocketFlixMovies.com. We have editorials. We have reviews, news bits, all that good stuff. And subscribe, guys. Subscribe to YouTube. We're doing good things, and we're going to keep on delivering more content for you.
Look
guys.
out for 2018.
Oh, yeah. You heard them. Subscribe, please. We would really appreciate that. We appreciate every follower. You can find me, Jacob Barley, on Twitter at JacobBarley_. And, of course, on his YouTube channel, shooting reviews. Getting on the Padawan podcast with Jake here. Probably my favorite thing we do here. Love talking Star Wars. And go DCEU. We want it to succeed. Thank you all for listening.